Hello everyone, good evening. Good evening to you all. Thanks for joining today's session. Uh, okay, yesterday we discussed we worked on different types of queries, right? We got our hands dirty with different types of queries using employee and department table. Simple two tables. We just saw how to fire the query against those tables with different business queries or with different business queries, right? Supposing you want to find out the employees, those get salary more than their commission amount, right? And also we have seen how to use the date column, so which all employees have been hired between so and so date. And you learned about I know what is between operator, what is and operator, what is or operator, and also we have seen the in operator also, right? So in operator also we have seen it. And today what we will do is we will continue with the subquery. So I thought of starting with this one, and still some more leftover items are there, because in the interest of those people are completely new into programming part, better I'll cover the subquery, correlated subquery and inline query also. And then we will take a quick look at the joins. Okay, joins, what are the types of joins that are available, that also we'll say, and what kind of joins are supported in MySQL. And in general, when you look at Oracle or MySQL, MySQL server, Microsoft SQL server, the common operators like intersect, minus are readily available. It's all inbuilt. But when it comes to MySQL, those two inbuilt functions are not available. Operators are not available. What we will do is, instead of we will write some alternative, or we use some alternative way of writing the query to get the data. Okay, instead of intersect and minus, right, we will write some other way of we write the queries in such a way to act as intersect, something like that. Okay. Fine. What is subquery? So what is correlated subquery and non-correlated subquery? As the name suggests, the correlated subquery, in the case of correlated subquery, the outer query depends on the inner query's output. For every row of inner query get executed, that one will be compared with your outer query. Okay. That is what the correlated subquery. First, let us see what is subquery, right? So subquery is also called as inner query. Look at here. So this is the syntax for the subquery. So here this is called your inner query, this is called your outer query. Okay. So a query which contains a subquery is known as outer query, right? So in this case, the example is, for example, we have taken this example, right? So in this case, what happens is actually the subquery executes once before the main query executes. Okay, the main query uses the subquery result. It is very simple. Okay, so what we will do is, one second, let me just see. This gentleman did not join yet. Because they are completely new into programming, and especially those of them are new into programming, they are not joining on time. No problem. So we will continue. Okay, so now you understood, in the case of subquery, this is outer query and this is the inner query, or this is called as subquery, inner query. Okay, so this one will get executed once before this query executes. So first this one will get executed, the output of this one will get substituted here. Right. So for example, if I am getting it average salary, select average salary of the employees. That average salary will be plugged in here. Okay. So here the average salary, for example, the average salary is 7,500. Right. So this query will execute and it will obtain the average salary. So in our case, the average salary is, let's assume that 7,100. The 7,100 will be replaced by here. Okay, so where salary is greater than 7,100. Okay, so in the case of non-correlated subquery, the subquery will get executed first. The output of this one will be so as to the outer query. In the case of where criterion, right? This one, the value of this one will get substituted here. Okay, that is what this one. And now let us go to MySQL command prompt, command line client. So I go here, I just type it here. For example, instead of using the same thing, select ename comma cell from emp. Let's say ASCII, and where let me say where salary is greater than, in our case the column name is SAL, not salary, sal, right? So here what we will do is select average of salary from emp. For example, let's from emp, here I say emp where department number is equivalent to 20. If I give, will it work here? Okay, first you need to connect to the database. In my case it is this is the one. Okay, so I can just use this up arrow to select this query. Okay, from MP where salary is greater than average of sal from emp.
Hey Silpa, one pad for you. Here, bottle switch up again.
So what is happening here? Can someone tell me what is happening here? One second, let me just mute on. So here this query got executed once, right? The output of this one got compared with this one. So now let us see what is the average cell. Select average cell from emp. So this inner query, what is the inner query? This is the one, is the inner query. Okay, and what is the value of this one? 5564 is the average salary. So 5564 got replaced by this one. Okay, this query got replaced by this value. So those employees getting salary more than the average salary, right? So these two guys are getting more than the average. So what is my average salary? Look here, 5564, but this guy's salary is more than 50,000 and 10,000. To validate this, select ename comma sal from emp. Okay, so in my website also a lot of SQL query related blogs are there. I will share that link. All of you please start practicing it. Okay, very easy to learn the SQL queries, especially when it comes to larger tables. You will have to spend some time to understand that, but practice makes you perfect. Okay, keep practicing it so that you will get a complete hang of how to join multiple tables. Also, it's a very simple one, right? So look here. So in this case, let us put the opposite here. For example, those people are getting less than the average salary. So we know the average salary. What is the average salary here? Average from 5564, right? So obviously even this one less than 5564. So 14 employees salaries are less than the average salary. And how many number of employees are there in this employee table from EMP? Almost 16 employees. Out of 16 employees, 14 employees salaries are less than the average salary. What about the remaining two? Remaining two are more than the average salary. So you need to use greater than symbol here. That's all, very simple one, right? So these two guys salary are more than the average salary. And also we discussed about the in operator also yesterday, right? So subquery and correlated subquery. What is a correlated subquery? In the case of correlated subquery, it obtains value from its outer query before it executes. So in this case, it obtained the value from this inner query, and then the outer query got executed. Jamal, this is subquery, okay? What is correlated subquery? Non-correlated subquery, okay? You should be knowing that, okay? Correlated subquery and non-correlated subquery, okay? What is we did not discuss about this, okay? So because you should be knowing what is correlated and non-correlated and correlated subquery. A correlated subquery, it depends on the value from the outer query, okay? So it is used for row by row processing. Why should I use correlated subquery? To perform row by row processing, right? Each query is executed once for each row of the outer query, right? In simple term, the subquery is correlated with the outer query. See, in this case, this one is correlated with this outer query. So whenever you find the var class in your subquery, look here, in this case, this subquery is getting the value from the outer query. What value it getting from? Say D1 is the alias for this table, and it is getting the department ID from the outer query, and then we are comparing the outer query's department ID with this table's department ID. Okay, so right, it references the subqueries are references from the outer table value. This is called correlated subquery in simple term, okay? Correlated subqueries are used for row by row processing, obviously, because so it will compare the department ID of this table's value with this table's department ID, right? For the current department ID of the employee table will be compared with this one, joined with this one, and then it will it will row by row, right? In row by row it will count the values. Select here, what is happening? Select count star from employee, where here what is happening here? So count of star from employee, where e dot department ID equal to d1 dot department ID. So where 10, select depart name 10. So what is happening here? What are we doing here? So what are we doing here? Right, the inner query uses the information from the outer query, right, and it executes for every row in the outer query, because we are using the joining condition var clause, okay? So what is happening here? Var 20, right? So here we want to display the employees, those of them are total number of employees, right, in each department, right? So we want to display 10 different we want to do 10 records, right? 10 those employees okay, here we will execute this one separately. If I tell you, you will get confused. Select count of star from employee, right? So you cannot execute the correlated subquery, right, because it is coming from this one. So select count of star. We know we have 16 employees. Sorry, EMP, right? Here EMP. 16 rows are there, right? And supposing we have depart number from depart T1, where 10 is less than, select count of star from EMPE, where E dot depart number here is equal to the D1, right? So here you need to say as, because in MySQL you need to use as the reserved word, D1 dot depart number, empty set. Okay, here we are not getting this one, right? Yeah. So what is happening here? Yeah, less than display department name which has employees less than 10 numbers, right? It's department name. Instead of department name, right, we can use department number also, right? Department number, or you can use department name also, right? Department number or department name, right? So where, okay, so for example, okay, D name, right? D name, right? So this is the one. And how many number of records are then depart. So for example, in depart I have 5 records are there. In the department column I have 5 records are there. And if I look at here, select depart number from EMP, look here. So here 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30 and 40, how many number of times are there? In 40 we have only one employee is there, right? So we have only one, we don't have 40 here, okay. In this one we don't have that. Yeah, 20, 30, only these 3 departments are there, right? So 10, 20, 30 and 40 is also there. But why here it is not bringing in 40 here, this query? Let me see how many of you answer it here. See, in this case, where 2 is less than, what is happening here? Jamal, can you tell me? Or someone else? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me see if I change the query and how many of you can tell. For example, count of star from departments. In the combination of these two, right? If I say, and how many are the 10s are there? 3 and 30 is 3, right? So 20 is 3. Or if I give like this, 20, 30 is coming here. So what is 20, 30 here? Right? So here I wanted to find out, the number of employees. 4, right? Number of department. Each department has 4 records. 4 records. If I give, what will happen here? If I give 1, what is happening here? And for example, here department number, and if I give 2, we already tried. Let's say 5. If I give 5, if I give sales only coming, right? Sales department is how many number of records are there? 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6 records are there. If you want to find out the department wise, each which department has 5 and less than 5 employees. Sorry, 5 employees. Okay, 5 employees and more. 5 employees and more. How do you check that? With this one you can find out, right? Where 5 is the number, we already mentioned it here directly here. Okay, so this is kind of a correlated query, correlated subquery, because in simple term we are using the outer queries thing, right? Yeah, first it counts the number of employees in each department, correct, and finally it displays depart which has employees less than 2 employees. Very good answer, right? So it counts the number of employees in each department, right? Each department, how many number of employees are there, and finally displays department which has employees less than 2 employees. Why less than 2 employees? Oh, okay, earlier I used 2, right? Okay, right? Which department has less than 2 employees? Which department has less than 4 employees? Which department has less than 5 employees? Okay, if I say like this, now what is happening? So you said it counts the number of employees in each department, right? Each department, number of employees in each department, and finally displays the depart number which has employees less than 2 employees, right? Is this correct, your statement, Basavaraj? Yeah, the greater than sign, right? Display employees having less than 2 employees. The greater than sign, it tells us, right, employees having less than the department having less than 2 employees. Department having less than 2 employees. 40, 60. If you look here, 40, 60, the operations and this one, right? 40, 60, 40 we have less than 2 only is there, right? 60 we don't have anything. That is the reason why it shows. Okay. Department has less than 2 employees. Department, which department has less than 2 employees? If you wanted to see which department has less than 2 employees, this is how you can see it here. And in that kind of situation, we will be using correlates. We will work on the correlates with some more examples, don't worry. And now you understood what is the difference between the simple subquery or non-correlated subquery and the correlated subquery. In the case of correlated subquery, the subqueries are getting the reference from outer table. Okay, that is what correlated subquery. In the case of normal subquery, right, this one gets executed. It is not using any values or reference from the outer table. That is the difference between the non-correlated and correlated subquery. And then the in operator. So what is in operator? So we discussed about in operator yesterday, right? So using in operator, for example, employee belong to employees, those we want to display, or we want to show the employees those who work in two department, right? So let's say I want to see sales and research department, right? So in that case, so sales, research, or else what you have to do, where the department or your job is equal to, where job is equal to let's say sales or research, you need to use multiple OR condition. If you use OR operator, instead of using OR operator, you can use in operator. That is the advantage of in operator. And what is exist operator? We have something else called exist operator. The exist operator, look here, select from where exist. This is the subquery here. So in this case, the exist operator checks for the existence of whether it whether, for example, look here, where exists select from project, employee number, employee ID. Okay, employee number and employee ID, right? So let's say I'm using another table called projects. Okay, so in this case, the main query, right, the main statement will work only if this one returns true. Okay, so if this employee in this table, the employee ID is there in this table, right, only then this query will get executed. If this employee number is not there in projects, it will not work. So what is the difference between exist and in operator? As I told you, right, exist is used to check the existence of the data in a subquery, whereas in is used to minimize the multiple OR condition. In simple term, if you want to use multiple OR condition in where clause, you can use in. And exist is to check the existence of the data in a subquery. Okay, so as soon as it finds the if it finds the first true occurrence, right, this one will get executed, whereas the in operator compares all the values presented inside it. Does not perform exist operator does not perform a comparison between parent query and child query, whereas in operator perform a comparison. So here the comparison will happen only with the in operator. Okay, whereas exist operator will be helpful in terms of checking the existence of the record in the subquery. For example, this is the classic example. So in this table, employee table, the employee number, right, whatever the employee number is there, is the employees, whatever the employees are there, they got assigned to a project or not, in simple term. Okay, if they are already assigned to any project, right, if the matching condition, right, if this employee number and the employee ID in this table, if both of them are matching, if this returns true, matching, if this one will return true, if that one returns true, then this query will get executed. Right, now you understood what is exist operator and in operator. Okay, so what is inline query? Inline query, we have something called inline query. What exactly inline query is all about? What is inline query? Can someone tell me what is inline query? So inline query, you can use it as part of your from class itself. You can use it as part of your from clause itself. Okay. For example, we know this one, right? One second, I'll just go here. First of all, what exactly inline query? Right? Inline query is something when we paste the query instead of the table name. In the from class, we specify employee EMP table, comma department table. Instead of let's say select star from EMP, comma, again I'm going to use a select query. Okay, inside the parenthesis, I'm going to select star from department D. Okay, something like that. So that is what instead of using the table name, right? You can use the query itself as part of a from clause. It's a type of subquery present in from clause, but in the case of inline view, right, it works like a temporary table. Right? The subquery is a component of from clause, but what is the difference between you must be asking this one. Okay, we can use a subquery as part of from clause itself. That is called inline query. Can this inline query be correlated? No, you cannot. It cannot be correlated. You understood, right? So correlated in the sense the subquery is referenced by the outer query's value, right? So look here, in this case this subquery is referencing the department ID for this subquery comes from this table, outer table, right? It references columns from the outer table, where here, right? But this kind of queries you cannot write as part of your inline query. Okay, inline query. We will see when we can use inline query with some example. Okay, so inline query, yeah, I'll just show here with simple example. Let me just go here. So we have select. Let's say I'm going to say D dot depart number. So D dot, what is D dot? D is an alias for the department table, and I'm going to say output dot total amount, something like that. From depart as D, comma, see in the from class itself I'm using a query here. Select, I'm going to say E dot depart number, comma, sum of E dot sal, I call this total amount from EMP as E, because I used an alias E. Okay, look here, in the from clause we are supposed to specify the table name. Instead of specifying the table name, first table name, in my case here the first table name is depart, I gave an alias name, shortcut name D, comma, instead of specifying another table, EMP table, I am using a query here. This is called inline query. Okay, E here. And why should I use it here? Group by depart number. Okay, so for each department wise, what is the total salary you computed, that output will be passed to this one. Okay, that will be passed to that one. Okay, and so here I am going to name this as a output. Okay, as output, the output of this one, the entire query's output, I have given alias as output. Okay, the next line what I am going to do is, obviously I need to say output dot depart number is equivalent to D dot depart number. You understood, right? But don't get confused with the E dot. Don't ask me here you have used E dot depart number, why you put, because the entire thing we have given the alias as output, right? So this is the one is holding the depart number total amount. Hence, to refer this depart number, this query's depart number, you need to use this name, output dot depart number is equivalent to D dot depart number. Look here. So what is happening here? It computed so what is group by? We'll discuss about the group by now. Okay. So before we understand this one, now you understood at an high level what is an inline query. Instead of specifying the table name, right? So you have used the query itself. right? You did some kind of aggregation, and you have, the output of this one, you named it as output. You can give any name, alias. Here I have given output. You can give any name. Okay. So here, in this I have output dot department number is there and output dot total amount is there. So this output dot total amount will get passed here. But before passing it here, we need to join these two tables, department number of this output with this one. Okay. Because these two are two different data set now, right? To join the two tables, you need to use a common column between these two tables. That is what we discussed yesterday also. Got it? Fine. So this is what group by. Jamal, are you able to understand? That's the reason why I'm repeating it. Okay. Alias name or shortcut name given to a table. Very good, right? So fine. So alias name or shortcut, to the table, and group by. Here I have used group by. Now we will see what exactly group by is all about. Just grouping the, aggregating the values for the groups, aggregating the values for the groups in simple term, in one liner, right? Group by class, SQL is used to group rows with same values. In the case of group by, behind the scene, these are the 3 steps are happening. Okay, these are the 3 steps are carried out. Let's see your data set is like this. In the north region, my sale is 4, and yesterday in the north region my sale is 4, and today in my north region my sale is 6. Yesterday my south region sale is this one. Likewise, you got the data. Now you wanted to find out, hey, I don't want the detailed itemized values. Instead, I wanted to have the consolidated sales for each region. You just give me an output like this: north how much we sold, south how much we sold, east how much we sold. Don't tell me yesterday we sold this much, today we sold this much. I don't want that detailed information. I want the aggregated information. This is my detailed data, transaction level data. I don't want the transaction level data. I wanted to summarize the sales or values based on the groups. Okay. So here what happens, because it carries out 3 operations: split phase, apply phase, combine phase. First, it splits the values based on the group. Okay, so north and north are same. Okay, it splitted the north and north separately and the corresponding value also. And again this one, the south and south, it splitted it as a separate group. East and east, it grouped it as a separate one, and right. So now what happened? First one is split phase, and second phase is aggregation. So you want to do some kind of sum or average. In my case, I want to do sum here. So 6 plus 4 will 10, 5 plus 5 10 in south, and east 10 plus 10 is 20, and finally it combines all these 3 consolidated values. Right? The final result set will have the only 3 group name and the consolidated values for each region. So it is at the transaction level, but this is at the aggregated value. Okay, consolidated value. Now you understood, right? This is how the group by works. Any questions? Very simple one. Okay. So that is what is happening here. Okay. In this case, what happens is, it first computed the department number, right? So in the group by department number, each department, what is, for example, in the department 10, what is the total salary we are giving it? Okay. So in department 20, all the employees put together in department 20, how much we are paying them? All the employees put together in department 30, how much we are giving them? Okay. Department 40, how much we are giving them in total? So what happens is, this is the one. For example, if you select this one, the inline query you can execute it separately, unlike correlated subquery. Okay, I just copy paste it here. Look here. So in this case, department number, I put some null values here. Some null value, yeah, group by some null values there. Yeah, okay. Employee table. The department number, one of the department number, record has some null values in it. Okay, so here we have 50,000, but what happens here is 10, 20, 30, 40. 8750 since okay, group by, we have done group by here, right? Group by, okay, and here, okay, here what happens, the why we are not getting this record here, why we are not getting null here, because here we are comparing the output of the, what output we have it here, the group depart number, yeah, in this one we have null also here, but in the department table we don't have a department number with the value null here, there. Look here, here we, because the department number is the primary key column in this table, hence we cannot insert null value here. But employee table, in the case of employee table, department number is a foreign key, then that references the department number is a foreign key in the employee table, since we can insert the null value also. I intentionally inserted a null value for this, and for example, look here, so I inserted Sudhakar Rao, okay, and his commission is 10,000 something, okay, the department number is null here. So what happens here is, the whatever the the department numbers here written by this query is joined with the department number in this table, okay. So since what are the department numbers in this output is matching with this one, 10, 20, 30, 40, right? And here we don't have 60, though we have a department number 60, we don't have any employees assigned to the department number 60, right? So hence the output of this one, the output of the output of this query, right? Query is output of this one, this depart number matched with this depart number. That is what we have written it here. So here we have null. We have for one record the depart number value is null, but whereas in this depart number we don't have null, right? So the common value between these two, intersect, right? Do you know intersect? In the case of set theory, you understood, right? The common value between two sets. So what is the common value between this set and this set? 10, 20. Yeah, so this is a 10, 20, 30, 40. The common value between these two says a 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. So within this department, it has done the aggregation. So the same thing. Look here, the group by does the same thing. Okay, in each department. See, let's say instead of north, sales department. Likewise, in sales department, the one guy is getting this one. In the same sales department, another guy's salary is something. Add these two things together. In total sales department, what is the salary, total salary, and each department, what is the total salary? We aggregated the values. What do you mean by aggregation? Sum. You can use sum or average or minimum, maximum, count. These are called your aggregated function. So now you understood how the group by works. Okay. And finally, what happens, right? The output of this aggregated value, aggregated value is department number compared with the output, the department number in this one, right? Basically, we are doing inner join. What do you mean by inner join? The common value between these two data set, D and output. We know what value is there in the output, right? So that is what we have done it. So now you understood in one go what is inline query and what is group by, and also inline query, what is the limitation. In the case of inline query, you cannot, the inline query cannot be a correlate, right? It must be uncorrelated. It cannot be a correlated query, inline query. So inline query you can use as whatever from class itself. And group by, it carries out three operations: split, apply, combine. Yeah, so group by class in SQL used to group rows with same values. Group by class always follows the where class, and you cannot write group by before where class, okay? It will throw an error. And group by class always precedes the order by. You can use order by also, okay? The reason why I'm talking all these things, right? When we start work with the query editor, irrespective of the file that you use it considers all the data file as a queries. Okay. So in that case, we need to know how to manage the queries. There are certain things you don't have to do it as part of your Power BI. It is not. For example, in DAX, we have something called filter function is available. Using filter function also, we can filter the data. But end of the day, you are importing all the data into Power BI memory, and then using DAX filter, you are filtering. That is not the right way of doing it. Before even you read the data from Excel file or any source file, you just apply the filter condition and then you import the data. For example, I have a data file. I'll just show you here. Let's say my data file size is 20 million records are there. I don't need all the 25 million records, right? When I spoke to my customer, they gave me 25 million records. They told me, hey, here is the data, whichever the dates or whichever the condition that you want to apply it, and take the subset of the data. So what I do is, where select all the data from this table or file, where I'm going to use condition, where purchase date is between, right, between purchase between so and so date and so and so date. I'm going to filter it. So this, when will you do this? So listen very carefully. When will you do this? When you extract the data from the source file itself, you are supposed to do that. Not like, say select star from purchase order, right? Import everything in Power BI, and then you have in DAX, we have something called filter function, and then use filter where purchase date between, right? So you are importing 25 million records unnecessarily here. Unnecessarily you are loading the memory. Unnecessarily loading into the memory. We don't know that. So that is the reason why I want you guys to be good with query. And again, writing the query, you should be knowing what is correlated subquery, what is uncorrelated subquery, and there are situations you will be working on the existing reports. That is very, very important. Not all the projects you will start from the beginning. Customers will recruit you for the maintenance project, maintenance and support project. In the case of maintenance and support, already they have a data model, already they have a dashboard, already they have a report. Okay. Or they want to create additional report. In that case, what they want to do is they want to add 1 or 2 columns with the existing data model, additional tables, additional columns they want to add it to retrieve or to generate a specific report. In that case, you are going to make a change to the existing data model. You should understand the data model some extent. Okay, and also you should know when to write the correlated subquery, uncorrelated subquery. You should be very good at it. And also, it is advisable when you retrieve the data from the source system itself, we can filter it, whether it's Excel file or whatever it may be, right? Especially in the case of database, you can use the direct query option is available, right? So in the direct query, you can specify the condition there itself, so that when you import the data itself, let's say you are after based on this condition between these two dates, instead of total number of records 25 million records, but we are interested in filtering the data between, for example, October to November. October to November hardly I have 1 million records. Is it wise loading 1 million records, or is it wise loading 25 million records? It is always wise loading the 1 million records, because for our analysis, we require only 1 million records, because between these two dates, hardly we have 1 million records. If you import the entire thing, what will happen? It will consume too much of memory. Even though you are using Hadoop system, all the things, right? It will slow down the performance. That is the reason why you should be good at. But in this case, only one query I put it. In real time scenario, we will be using multiple tables. That we are going to see it little later. Hope you understood, right? So how to write a inline query, and what is group by, and having class. So having class, you can use it to filter or apply the filter on your grouped values. Okay, for example, in this case, look at this data set. Instead of going through the theory, so what is a group by, right? So you want to group by employee table by using department ID. So all the twos will get grouped together, and one will be grouped together, three will be grouped together. That is what happened. In one, what is the average here? So here 6,000 divided by 2, 3,000, the average. Similarly, 2 and 3, it computed the average salary in each department. So that is what this query is doing it. Okay, and the next one is having average salary is greater than 1,000. Within this output, right, I am going to apply a condition. I don't want all these department salary. Especially I am interested in those department average salary is more than 3,000. Look here. So then what is the difference between where clause and having clause? Right? Where clause restricts records before group by class, whereas having clause restricts the groups after group by class. Hope you understood. Right? After group by, if you want to restrict the records, you can use having. And before group by itself, if you want to restrict the record, you can use where clause. It is always good. You can use where clause if it is possible, right? Wherever it is possible, you can use where clause before group by, so that the total number of records are less. Within that record, you do group by, and then you can use having. You can have the combination of where as well as having also. Now you understood the difference between where and having clause. Where and having can be used in a single query. That's what I said. Where clause restricts records before group by class. For example, department data average salary from employee where higher date between so and so date. Those employees hired between so and so date, I am interested in their average salary only. Group by department ID having average salary is greater than 3,000. So I just repeat, having clause is used to restrict the results returned by the group by class. Where clause is used to restrict the records from your query, main query, okay, main query. And before group by where clause will restrict the records, and this one will restrict the records from grouped values. Okay, here you tell me what is counter star greater than 1. Select job minimum salary maximum from employee where group by job. If I use having counter star greater than 1, what does it say? You know what is counter star, right? Total number of records. Okay, let us do one thing. Here we will do the same thing here. Select, for example, ename, comma, sum of salary. Group by depart number. Having count of. Okay, let us do one thing. I'll just do it like this, group by number. Okay, here what I'm going to do is, so what is happening here? Having count of star greater than 1. So in this case, group by, we have done a department wise, right? Okay, I should have taken the department here. Let me do one thing. Okay, so this is the one. Select ename depart number from group by depart number. If I do this department number wise, we have something on null also, that is there in my employee table. Okay, and for this 50,000 is there, and for this is the aggregated values for each department, aggregated salary for each department. What is the aggregation function I use? Sum here. Okay, and if I use count of star greater than 1, what does it say? It returns okay, let me do one thing. Clerk Smith Allen. Abdul is not there. Why? Why? See, within these grouped values, right? Within these grouped values, I wanted to see, more than one employees, or then I'm very much interested in more than one, at least, more than one employee is there in the department. Alone, I want to do some kind of group by. Okay? And because if you look at the depart number here, right? Okay, we have only one. Baswaraj, he sent a message. We have only one null in employee table, but we have 10, 20, 30 is repeating more than once in employee table. Okay, what you are trying to say? Okay. So, but 40 is there, right? Baswaraj, 40 is also there. Sudhakar is not displayed when count of star is greater than 1. Yeah, Sudhakar is not displayed because he is not appearing more than once, right? Abdul is also not appearing more than once. For example, select ename, depart number from EMP. Look here. What is this one? 30, right? 40, Abdul. Yeah, 40, Abdul, right? Is appearing only one time. Okay, is appearing only one time. Supposing we will see, for example, to validate my statement, count of star greater than, 4. Smith Allen. If I give this one, Clerk Smith Allen, but if I say greater than 4, what is happening here? Null is not greater than, okay, so that is not when count of star is greater than 1. 40 and null is not greater than 1. Yes, correct, right? 40 is and null is not greater than 1. I don't know in what context you are saying 40 and null is not greater than 1. Right? Yeah, Sudhakar is not displayed when count of star is greater than 1. Yes. But okay, 40 and null is not great. Okay, why 40 is coming? That is what your question, right? Is that what you're saying? We are not getting, right? Count of star, we are not getting 40 also. 40 and, yeah, okay, you are answering that one, right? You are giving the explanation. Okay. 40 and, right? So these two guys are the null and the 40. Abdul is appearing only one time and Sudhakar is also appearing only one time, right? So we want to see we want to do some kind of aggregation. Department wise, we want to do some kind of aggregation wherein we want to filter those department has less than one employee. We want to filter, we want to do more than one employees. Okay, that is what is happening. Okay, if I want to see more than 4, Clark has gone. If you look at Clark here, how many times he appears here? Clark, department number 10, right? Department number in the department 10. Department 10, how many number of times it appears? We will go by the department number, right? So number of department number. So department number 10 2 times, 3 times. Okay. Department number 10 appears only 3 times. Okay. Instead of saying the name, okay, department number. Right, we wanted to find out the salary department wise, wherein the department number appears more than once. For that group alone, we want to find out. Instead of saying employee name, I should have told the department number. Look here, the department number 10 appears 3 times only. When I use 4, it has gone. Right. 10 is 3 times, very good, right? So that is what I said. So now it is working fine, right? So now you understood count of star also. I don't want to, blindly take the entire group. Within that group, I want to filter based on the number of occurrences of the department number. This is one way of doing it. Or else you can, write a condition, something, average salary is greater than 3,000, something like that. Okay, you can write a condition, filter condition, whichever conditions you want to write it. or whichever condition that you want to use it to filter the data, you can specify it in having clause. But the having class condition, whatever you specify, that one will be applied on the grouped values. Okay, that is what the difference between having clause and where clause. And next we will see quickly what is set theory and joins in this one. So we have inner join. In the inner join we have EQ join, non-EQ join. It is also called as a theta join. Okay, and the SQL, right? Apart from this, we have something self join and cross join, an outer join, left outer join, right outer join, full outer join. Fine. So these are all the very basic thing. So first of all, why do we need to perform joins? Why do we need to perform joins? Why we need a join? Because, take for example, in this case, just use a simple example. Okay, so we have an employee table and department table. In the employee table, I want to select the, see my query, in my query I want to generate a report which will have, yeah. Right, so in the department name, okay, so I want, but here do you have department name? We don't have it, right? We don't have the department name. And for example here, comma, salary, my manager wants the report to be generated like that. But only when I join these two tables, I can get the department name. But do you, can we, with a single query, we wanted to select more than one column. But unfortunately, department name is not there, right? In order to get the department name, what we need to do is we need to join the employee table's common column with the department table's common column. Look here, describe depart. So what column is common between these two tables? Jamal, can you tell me what column is common between these two tables? Or anyone, Arun Kumar or Karthik.
E-name, salary.
No, common. Listen very carefully. What columns are common between the employee and department table? So here D name locate is not there, right? It is not common between these two tables. Very good, right? Department number, very good. So that is what I expected from you. So department number is common between these two tables, and also in this table the department number is the foreign key which references the department number that is there in the department table. In this table this is the primary key, right? So in that case what we are doing is the common column between these two tables, we join it together in order to get this one. Now you understood why we need to perform join, why joins are required. Why joins are required? Because if I want to select more than one table's columns, right, you need to check which columns are common between those tables, and then you need to join them. If I have one more table, you need to find out, right, which column is common between the employee table, something like that. So this is the parent key, department number is the parent key, right? Parent table, department number is the parent table. Similarly, I have, let's say, I have a projects. I have another table called projects, right? So now I have another table called EMP. If I want to join more than one table, what should I do? I wanted to know the employee name, and also in the corresponding department name should be displayed, and which the employees working in we want to know the department name for each employee and the corresponding project they are working on it currently, right? In that case you need to join, to get the department name you need to join the employee table's department number with this one, right? Arun Kumar, you agree with me or not? Arun Kumar or Karthik, Jamal? You agree with me or not? That's what we did it, right? That's what we did it. Let's go to tables now. To get the department name, you have to go to the department table. In order to go to the department table, how can I do that? See, I can write two queries. For example, ename, comma, salary. Ename, depart number, comma, salary from EMP. But my manager, he doesn't want the department number. Okay. And he wants the department name. So in that case, what he will do? D name from depart. But will you ask him to refer, these, okay, for example, the depart number. If you give him like this, hey, whatever the depart number is there, you need to manually check it and then, understand it. That's a painful thing, right? What we are doing is, we are doing a lookup, or we are matching the common values, right? We are matching the values of this depart number with this department number to get the department name. See, in simple example, they have given you in a paper, right? Hey, 10 is accounting, 20 is research and sales. And if they ask you, hey, Jamal, can you tell me Smith belong to which department? What you will do? You will manually go and look up here, right? Oh, Smith is to research department. Similarly, Alan is sales department. Manually you look up. But when you join these two tables using the common column name, the query automatically does the lookup. So this one, the 20 will get looked up here. Oh, this is accounting, right? So department name will get printed. So you need to join it somewhere here. Okay. So in the common value between these two tables has to be joined here. Got it? That is the reason why we are. Supposing we are using more than 3 tables. So in that case, okay, if I want to display the project name, what should I do here? I need to combine, I don't know if I have the data in my projects table. Select star from projects. Employee ID 77877934. Okay, select. For example, I'm going to use the up arrow. Always use up arrow. Here I want to display the title, right? So title is the project name, and from emp comma, so emp as e. Okay, so here I'm going to use d name instead of department number. I'm going to use d name because we want the department name of the employee and the corresponding project which is working on it, and the salary also as. Okay, emp comma depart emp from emp inner join. We use inner join, or equal sign also you can use it. Okay, inner, look here, I have used equal sign here, equal sign, right? Instead of the equal sign, what you do is from employee as the inner join department number. So inner join depart on which table. Okay, first let's go step by step before I use more than 2 tables. First you understand these terminologies. Okay, so to join the tables, look here, instead of using this, okay, from emp comma department, you can list down all the tables whatever you wanted, where emp dot depart number is equivalent to depart dot depart number. What is the difference between these two? The output is same only, right? The output is same only. This is pretty straightforward. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. But what in practice we use it this one. Employee table, you perform an inner join with the department table. What do you mean by inner join? What do you mean by inner join? This is employee table, this is a department table, right? The common value between these two tables, right? So we are joining with the department number. Whatever the department number is there in my employee table, and whatever the department number that is there in my depart number, right? The common values, right? The matching values should get fetched. That is what is happening. Okay. Instead of write this, it's an alternative way of writing it. You just think that way. Okay. Instead of writing this way, we write it this way, inner join. Okay. And select in from EMP. Listen, look at this diagram on the right side. Okay. This is the EMP table. Assume that way. Okay. EMP, inner join, department table, on which number? Department number. Right. So the department number is a department number there here. Department number is there in the department table also. Right. Whatever the common values of the department number between these two tables, you select it. That's all. So inner join. You can use inner join also. You got it? Inner join returns the matching rows from both the tables. Very simple. Matching rows from both the tables. Left outer join. What is the left outer join? Instead of using left outer, the inner join, use left outer. Look here, you have table A and table B. Okay? And it clearly says when you do the left outer join, it selects all the values from the table A. You got it? That is what left outer join. Okay? And Jamal, probably I will help you out on this later. Okay? In the interest of time. Okay? And right outer join, when you join these two tables, right, whatever the values are, then the right side table will get fetched. The entire value from the right table will get fetched. That's what your right outer join. Full outer join is the union of all these values, all the values, not only the common values, both A and B, right? The common values. Cross join is a Cartesian product of two or more tables. For example, I want to do some kind of cross join. In that case, what will happen is this one will get joined with this one, and again this one will get joined this one. This one will be mapped to this one, this one will be mapped to this one, this one will be mapped to this one. Similarly, this one. If you don't specify join condition, what will happen? Cartesian product join will happen. For example, here I am going to say employee department. I am not going to use the where clause to join the common column between these two tables. If I give, what will happen? What is happening? Cartesian, this is what is happening. Every row in my first table will get matched with every other row in the second table. Right? That is what Cartesian join. Cross join. It is also called as a Cartesian join or cross join. Self join, joining the table with the same table. You remember yesterday we discussed about, we wrote a script to take out or to display which employees are reporting under which manager. The same table itself we have manager ID as well as the employee ID. The manager ID is also same as the employee ID only, right? For example, your employee ID is 100, you are reporting under the employee ID, the 101. 101 is your manager. Your manager employee ID is 101, right? The manager column 101 was there, and the employee ID column, your ID was there. So that with the help of manager column, we can find out which employees are reporting to which manager. This is called your what? This is what called your self join. How will you write a self join? Yesterday we wrote it, right? So e.ename from let's emp as e. I am doing inner join with the same table, okay? And as okay, here inner join as it will not work. Inner join, right? Inner join as mgr. So how will you write an inner join here? Can you tell me what mistake I made it here? from EMP, inner join, right? Inner join you have to do with which table? Yesterday we tried. Why don't you type it in the channel? Let me see how many of you still remember it. Yeah. Inner join with the table, right? EMP, for example, here EMP as E. Okay, inner join with which one you do it? Right? What mistake I made it earlier? Column in ename field is okay. Ename field, right? You need to say. So that's why you need to use the alias before your column name. Okay, and any of department name is not required here. Yeah, department number we can use it. E dot depart number, comma, because we are using the same table, right? Look here, depart number, or you can use manager here. Okay, sorry, here you need to use manager. Which employees reporting under which manager? Okay, Sudhagar is reporting to this manager ID, and Smith, the each employee's manager ID we can see it here, right? So that we get to know which employees are reporting to which manager. Yeah, so I did not add that is what the mistake I made it. I did it intentionally to check how well you are observing it. Okay, because yesterday itself we tried that one, right? We displayed it. Fine. And next one is union. Joining both the tables. Okay, joining both the tables. But I think in this one and MySQL we don't have union is available. What you do is I think it is available. Select star from select star from EMP as EMP. Okay, and left Z union. We don't instead of union we can use this one, the what is it, we can use, I don't think so we'll have union is available. Select for example depart number from EMP as E union select d dot depart number from depart. Will it work here? Department and field list, right? D dot as all the values. Select distinct depart number from EMP. 10, 20, 30, 40 is there, where in employee table, but whereas in the department table we have 60 is there. Hence 10, 20, 30, 40 null, right? Along with that in the department table, I'll just show you in the department table, from depart. I think Karthik got confused. See here we have 20, 20, 30, 40, 60, right? So the combination of these two, union, okay? Union will eliminate the duplicate records. A union B. How many of you studied, how many of you remember school time? A union B, right? The combination of all things. But when you use union, it will exclude the duplicate values. Okay. So null 10, 20, 30, 40 and 60. And it will not, include the this one. So in the case of union, it includes a null also, right? 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, null. The combination of these two, A union B, is this one. Intersection is the common one, but there is nothing called intersect is available here. Okay, so in that case, what we need to do is select E dot depart number this is the common value between those two. So you can see in the department number, depart table, we don't have. So we have 60, but this, depart table, right? We don't have the 60 available in that one, right? So union is okay, department, select depart number. So that's what I did it, right? Select depart number from union, will work, sir. Okay, I need not to use, what did I do there? And I used union, right? Yeah, union. Yeah, alias I mentioned it. Without alias also it will work. Yeah, alias is not required. Yeah, what you're saying is correct, but I used alias most of the time. That is the reason why in practice, right, I use that also. Alias is not required in that case. Okay, and for example, in this case, this is what n. So n is nothing but the common values between both the tables, right? So in the whatever the depart number is there in this department table, the same department number which is there in the employee table will get faced here. But the uncommon values are 60. 60 is here, but the depart number 60 is not there. Hence it is ignored. That's all. So that is what intersect. But we don't have intersect operator available in MySQL server. Sorry, the Microsoft SQL server, intersect minus operators are available. Okay. Okay. How will you perform minus? How will you perform minus? For example, here, what is minus here? This is what minus. See, look here. All the values except this one. Okay. So except you just simply say B, except B. Okay. Whatever value is in there in A which is not there in B. Okay. Set can elements from the set A where not elements of the set B. Okay. So minus, we don't have minus operator available here. So instead you can use is null, right? You can use is null. You can use left join. The left join, what will happen is all the values from this table, right, and non-matching values from this table also, right? Non-matching values between these two table, especially on the left side, will get displayed. So that one will be displayed as a null. For example, you can say emp number from emp. We performed left join. I would say left join on emp. Let's so left join. Sorry, depart, right? Left join depart using left join depart as D, right? On, what is that? So E dot depart number equal to D dot depart number. This is my left join. Okay. If I use where look here, 555, employee number 555. What is that? EMP number comma depart number from EMP where EMP number is equivalent to 45. Null, right? Look here. So this is what the, now you understood, right? Minus. For example, I just want to show you this one, depart number from depart table. So in the department table we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. But whereas in the left join, so left join says all the department number that is there in that are there in your employee table should get displayed. Okay, all the department number. Whereas we have something on null, right? See all the values from the all the depart number from this one, and the non-matching value from your employee table is null in the department number, right? So I wanted to exclude that one. So when I exclude where did on is null. Okay, so what is this one? All the values, see all the values that are there in A which are not there in B. So that is nothing but 555. You understood? Still not clear? Jamal. Distinct depart. What is distinct will give? What is distinct will give? Distinct, the unique values in your depart number. So 10, 20, 30, 40 and null. Okay. Distinct value will give you the unique values, correct, right? So 10, 20, 30, 40. In this one, whatever value is there here, which is not there here. So 10, 20, 30, 40 is there, but null is not there here. But again, it should match, okay, because we are joining it. Don't say, 60 is there here, which is not there here. But we are doing the minus, A minus B we are doing it, okay, A minus B, right? So 10, 20, 30 and null is not there. I want to display the employee, whose department is not there here, okay. That is what I want to select it, A minus B. So joining more than two tables, we will see it tomorrow with the, I thought of covering it that one today, and what we will do is we will cover that one on this Saturday, okay, and Saturday we will continue on that one, the Irwin diagram, okay. We will work on the complex SQL queries, okay. In the meanwhile, you can watch my today's video, and especially those of you who are completely new into query, writing queries, all the things, please watch it and don't disregard it, okay, because this is very much important. Sometimes, most of the times, what we do is as part of the ETL, we'll be combining, also what we do is we join more than one table. In the update statement also we'll be using the subqueries, okay. In the update statement also how to use subqueries, and delete statement also how to use subqueries. What we will do is, those of you are completely new into the queries, right, SQL queries, we will have a separate session for you guys, because we have a mix of experienced people and completely non-IT people are there, right. We will have a separate session, we'll plan for it. Next week the plan is upcoming Tuesday we'll start work on Power BI, okay. We'll start work on Power BI, and whatever the gap we had at the festival, all the thing, we'll try to offset it by covering by taking extra time, right. So instead of 1 hour, 1.5 hours we'll cover it, okay, so that we will compress the duration. Any questions so far? Does it sounds good? Next Tuesday onwards we are going to start the Power BI, and this Saturday don't miss the session, we'll see the complex queries. And also if you are completely new into the query part, right, start practicing it, okay. Only when you keep practicing it, and also I'll give you a lot of assignments and you guys can start work on it. Start with simple thing and then increase the complexity, okay. Fine, since you don't have any queries, right, we'll wrap up the session now.